Let's talk about another Indian neighbor, the Maldives. There is a buzz in the power corridors. The question doing the rounds is whether all's not well between the Maldives and India. Now, these two countries are very close, be in terms of the geographical location or the people-to-people contact. For the Maldives, India is its closest ally, also the most dependable partner. The Maldives swears by its policy of India first. For New Delhi too, Malé is just as important. When the 2004 tsunami struck, India was the first to assist the Maldives. When the 2014 water crisis struck, India was again the first to extend a helping hand. Air Force planes and Navy vessels were loaded with bottled water and sent to Malé. In 2020, India dispatched 30,000 doses of measles vaccines. The Maldives was also among the first two nations to receive Wuhan virus vaccines under Vaccine Maitri of India. Ties between India and the Maldives have been rock solid, but something happened last year, something that forced the government of the Maldives to put out a reminder. This is what it says. Let me read it out for you. The strong bilateral relationship between the Maldives and India is based on shared historical and cultural ties matched by dynamic people-to-people contact. India has always been the Maldives' closest ally and trusted neighbor, extending constant and consistent support to the people of the Maldives on all fronts. What was the need for this statement? Well, in the middle of the pandemic, an anti-India campaign spread through the island nation. The campaign was called India Out. The slogan was first heard on the streets. Then it became a hashtag, then a trend, and then a threat. A few months ago, a local man told his Twitter followers that he wanted RDX because he wanted to blow up the Indian High Commission in the Maldives. A lot had already happened by then. A section of the local media had put out anti-India articles. Indian diplomats were attacked online. India's High Commissioner to the Maldives had already penned down a letter to the Foreign Ministry expressing concern. The Maldives' Foreign Ministry had also put out a statement condemning the attacks. Also, security was increased outside the Indian mission. What was happening? The India Out campaign had gained momentum. But who exactly wanted India out, and who from India did they want out? There are many Indians in the Maldives. They make the second largest expatriate community. 25% of the Maldives' doctors are Indians. 25% of their teachers are Indians. So whom exactly did the campaigners want out? Apparently, India's military presence. That's what they're against. But does India have a military presence in the Maldives? The fact is, it doesn't. What the Maldives does have, though, are choppers gifted by India. These, the Dhruv Advanced Light Choppers. India gave them to the Maldives in 2010 and 2015. These choppers are multi-purpose. They're used for search and rescue operations, weather surveillance, also for airlifting patients. But to some in the Maldives, these choppers represent India's military presence. Why is that? Because when India and the Maldives consolidated defense ties, the agreement provided for Indian troops to train the Maldives National Defense Force, MNDF. So in the last 10 years, India has trained more than 1,300 MNDF trainees. It just so happens that MNDF commands these choppers that India has sent. So that's the link between Indian choppers and military presence. Now there's training and there's military presence, and these two are very different things. And I'm not denying that the Maldives has immense strategic significance for India. It does. After all, the island country is just 300 nautical miles from India's west coast. What I'm saying is that India has always respected Malay's sovereignty, and I'll give you an example. In 1988, there was an attempted coup in the Maldives. A group led by businessman Abdullah Lutfi attempted to seize power. He had the backing of a Sri Lankan secessionist group called the PLOTE, the People's Liberation Organization of Tamil Eelam. 60 mercenaries from this group landed in Malé in 1988. They took control of the city. Maumoon Abdul Gayoom was the president of the Maldives then. He managed to escape and he requested India for help. New Delhi launched Operation Cactus within hours of the SOS call. Indian paratroopers rescued the president, returned control of Malé to the government and came back home. India withdrew its troops the moment they were no longer required. Do you know why? To ward off any fears of military presence or territorial aspirations. So any idea of an Indian military presence in the Maldives is flawed. It's a misunderstanding. It's a perception that grew in 2013. That's when Abdullah Yameen Abdul Gayoom became the president of the Maldives. Under him, the country became pro-China. Ties with India deteriorated and anti-India sentiment grew. So much so that at one point, the Yameen government asked India to take back the choppers. This was in 2016. India refused. 2 years later, there was a change of guard in the Maldives. Ibrahim Solih took oath as president. And he repaired ties with India. Very recently, the two countries signed the UTF Harbour Project Agreement. Under this agreement, India is providing grant assistance to the Maldives. The perception of military presence made a comeback with this. This time, it was in the form of the India Out campaign. Soon, local media began speculating that India could turn the UTF project into a naval base, an Indian naval base. The Maldives refuted this as early as 2019, but who can stop a rumor from spreading, especially when it suits some political interests and foreign players? What makes for a better election pitch than a weakened government and threatened sovereignty? And who gets to benefit from an anti-India campaign in the Maldives more than China? The India Out campaign does not hint at deteriorating bilateral ties. What it hints at is a domestic political tussle, one that's being fanned by fringe groups with the possible blessings of a certain neighbor of India. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.